Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control, East Tennessee's largest locally owned pest control company. More than 50 years of experience. It's who I use at my home, and they protect my home. They can do the same for you, whether you need crawl space encapsulation coming up next spring, next summer, whether you need to have just regular old pest control, which they do for me as well. I trust these folks. They're fantastic, good family-owned business, and they put a lot of pride in what they do, and you reap the benefits of that. SoutheastTermite.com to learn more, and let me tell you, they go all over East Tennessee, so call them and check to see if they come to your area. I bet they do. All right, let's welcome in the next member of our panel right here, Chuck Cavaleris. Chuck, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, John.
All right, now, I noticed last year that when Tennessee fell behind by 11 points or more, they didn't come back. And a lot of stats have gone on when Tennessee loses. You'll see the stat in the game broadcast that, okay, until Texas A&M, Josh Heupel had never come from behind at halftime. So they're now 1-10, 1-11, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we've asked, okay, is this a part of that veer and shoot? You know, this offensive system? Is it Josh Heupel not being able to make adjustments? So I went back and looked at Art Briles' entire career at Baylor. I looked at Kendall Briles as an offensive coordinator, Jeff Lebby as an offensive coordinator, who run variations of this system. Did all that, and I thought, well, let's just see what happens in the SEC. So what I did was I looked at all the coaches in the SEC who've been in the league as long as Josh Heupel. So anybody that was hired before 2022, there are 10 of those guys. I just looked at the last 4 years. I wasn't going to go back through history. I thought 4 years would be a big enough sample size of going through every box score of every team's game.
Wow.
To see, is this a Heupel problem or an SEC problem? Gamblers, take note if you like the in-game wagers. Let's take a look and see what happens when you're down by 11. Oh, yeah, nobody comes back down by 11.
Wow.
Blows me away. You see Josh Heupel down there at 0-11 after yesterday. When he falls behind by 11, he's never won at Tennessee. You know who else hasn't? Lane Kiffin. Anybody talk about Lane Kiffin not making halftime adjustments, not being good in comebacks? Mark Stoops, 0-15.
Wow.
But overall, Kirby Smart is 3-3. Now you'll notice, Smart and Saban are at the top. They don't fall behind by 11 very often, do they?
No.
But everybody else, you look at the other 10, that's Pittman, Beamer, Fisher before he got canned, Lee at Vanderbilt, Drinkwitz, Heupel, Kiffin, Stoops, all of them, even with Smart and Saban, that is a combined 12-117 when they fall behind by 11 or more. Now let's take a look at the halftime stats. When they fall behind at halftime, yeah, people don't come back from that either. Kirby Smart, 7-2. Nick Saban, 6-4. Here's the funny thing about those two teams when I looked at these games. Very rarely were they ever down more than 3 at the half. So they're not having to come back much, but they also have more talent than anybody else. Kiffin, 4-8 down at halftime, but everybody else stinks. You see it right down there through the list in terms of the winning percentages. 30-122, fewer than 20%. If you are trailing at the half, you have a less than 20% chance of coming back and winning that football game. I was shocked by that. I was stunned by that. Bob Hodge, we've sat here on this show many times and said, 11's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Apparently it is. You
Incredible.
got a theory on why?
Yeah,
I
I do have a theory on why. I watch a lot of college football, but I watch a lot more NFL. And in the NFL, 11 isn't that big of a hurdle. You see a lot of teams come back from 11. I mean, think about it. It's 2 possessions, touchdown, 2-point conversion, field goal. So you see a lot of 11-point deficits erased in the NFL. I would have thought the numbers would have obviously skewed to if you're down by 11, you're probably going to lose. But I thought it would have been something out of 112 games. Okay, it's going to come out to something like 40, 80, something like that. I never would have dreamed. Now, I'm sure if you look at the NFL, if you're down by 11, you lose most of the time. But I don't think the numbers would be like that. I thought that was just an amazing statistic.
Chuck, I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't change what we've been saying about Josh Heupel. This offense doesn't come back, but it does.
If you say it about everybody.
If you're a guy who likes the in-game wager, 11, I'm in.
Yeah, really.
Well,
really.
Your thoughts on that? Are you surprised as Bob and I
Yes. I mean, it's stunning to me there have not been more comebacks than the number you put up there. And then you start digging into it. Why? Is it because Tennessee's a running offense and they can't come back as quickly? But that wasn't a problem last year, it didn't seem like. So it's across the league, and especially with Mark Stoops. I mean, that's just like once you fall behind, are the other defenses that good that you're just not going to catch up? It's hard, to me, it's hard to put a finger on exactly what
Your
it
thoughts
is.
on that?
Well, I'd like to see what Iowa's record is when they fall behind. That's stunning to me.
Yeah.
To see that figure, I wouldn't have thought that. And this league usually has a lot of really good quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can figure is that perhaps that when coaches get behind by 11, maybe they panic and get out of their game plan. If you can get behind by 11 in the first half, you don't need to change your game plan.
Right.
You don't need to change what you're doing.
Yeah,
Well, obviously you do.
and I'm also sitting here. There's been so
Maybe
much.
they're doing it.
There's so much NFL talent on defense that ends up being drafted. Maybe that's where a lot of your better athletes are, and that's another reason why it's so hard.
Once
to come
again,
up.
I just thought that number would be, okay, you're
Yeah.
down by
Yeah.
11. You win a third of those games.
Right.
Minimum, you would
10%.
win a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
But
see that.
this league isn't the defensive league it used to be.
No.
So that's another reason I thought you would see more comebacks from an 11.
Well, and plus the numbers that John did, you only go back 4 years. It wasn't like the new offenses are that new.
Only
You didn't-
4 years.
Yeah.
I'll let you look through 200 games. But anyway, I just thought it was, that's one thing we want to do here. Look, we want to present you with facts, and we want to present you facts you're not going to find elsewhere. So we dig around a lot. But I also want to provide context. And if we're sitting here beating up Josh Heupel saying,
Yeah.
what's wrong with this? Is it he can't make halftime adjustments? Is it because, and that stat's been everywhere, the halftime thing. But the 11-point thing,
Yeah.
that's on me. All right, is it the veer? Is it the veer and shoot offense? Is it him, his adjustments? Well, let's put some context to it. And what you see is a lot of SEC coaches aren't having. I didn't think 11 would be a magic number at Tennessee. Turns out it's a magic number for everyone in the SEC, which
across
is
the
stunning.
board.
So just turn the TV off when they get behind.
That's
by
over.
and Go on with
It's
something
over.
else.
The halftime thing too. I mean, you're
Yes,
winning less
that's
than
also
20%.
big.
All these things. That's remarkable. And the other thing, you look at Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. They're the only two who can come back from behind. They're not behind that often, and they're not behind that much. But the Kirby Smart 7-2 when trailing at the half, that really stands out when you look at all those other numbers,
Right.
those other coaches.
They've won 28 in a row. 11 times they have trailed.
That's impressive. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
But they're without any exceptions.
Yeah.
They are. All right. When we come back, how will the last 2 weeks impact Tennessee's recruiting efforts, and what was more important for Nico Iamaleava this year, red shirt or experience? We'll discuss that. Come on back.